Hello and welcome to the High Note Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Smith. Hey, it's been a while, everybody. I think this is the first podcast of 2023, so welcome into the new year. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Hope everybody had a great holiday, and just wishing nothing but the best for everybody. It's been pretty consistent over here at the High Note, just in case you haven't been following over there at highnotblog.com. Sure, we took a little bit of a break during the holidays, but we're back at it, and we're doing new blogs every Tuesday, so go ahead and check out the new reviews, and every Friday, New Music Friday, so go ahead and check out all of the new releases when they come out every week over there at highnotblog.com. Hey, while you're at it, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe on whatever platform that you're using, and you can get hooked right up to the High Note Podcast every time that we release one, which is about once a month. So please feel free to get these in your podcast feed once a month just by hitting subscribe wherever you're at. Wherever you're on social media, I'm there too, at High Note Blog. I don't know if you're on YouTube as well. I've started doing YouTube shorts in addition to the TikTok reviews. So when I do a new music review on Tuesday, I've been going over to TikTok and Instagram and now YouTube shorts to give you a little preview on what the review is all about. And then I'm doing the same thing for New Music Friday. So enough about the blog. This is the podcast. And today I have an old friend, my old buddy, Mohsen Amini from the great band Talisk, one of my favorite bands from Glasgow, Scotland. Mohsen is the leader and the concertina player, the founder of the band. And usually in the past, when I've interviewed him and his bandmates, Graham and Benny, and in the past their previous fiddle player, Haley, I'd interviewed them, the three of them, at a festival. Really a good time. Just an open conversation, just hanging out, and we've gotten to know each other pretty well over the years, but this is my first time interviewing the fantastic Mohsen one-on-one to talk about just how he got the start. I mean, how does one pick up a concertina and start playing it? That is basically my first question to him, because I had never heard of the instrument before I heard him play it, before I saw him play it. And he plays it. He probably is the best concertina player in the world right now. And with his band Talisk, they put on one hell of a show. So if you haven't heard of Mohsen or Talisk, Mohsen is not only the founder of Talisk, but he also won a BBC Two Folk Award with the band. So he himself is the BBC Two Musician of the Year back in 2018. So big fan of Mohsen and Talisk, and I thought it would be a good time to interview Talisk, not just because they were over there performing for their Celtic Connections, their big festival in Glasgow, but they're coming back over to the United States. They were here in August for the Philadelphia Folk Festival. They toured the United States. We talk about that on the podcast, but they're coming back. So beginning February 4th, they're starting out in Minneapolis. They're going to Wisconsin. They're going to Illinois. They're going to Michigan. They're going to Ohio. And on February 13th, they're going to be playing the Craft House Stage and Grill in Pittsburgh. And on February 15th, they're playing in Old Slaybrook, Connecticut. On February 16th, they're playing the Crystal Ballroom in Somerville, Massachusetts. February 17th, we're going to get a little bit closer now. Spire Center for Performing Arts in Plymouth, Massachusetts. February 18th, they are in Westport, Connecticut. And then February 19th, this is the one, the Ardmore Music Hall show sponsored by the Philadelphia Folk Song Society. Tickets are still available. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, go ahead and get them. The doors open at 6:30, and the show starts at 7:30, and tickets are on sale right now. You can go over to talisk.co.uk. I'll put a link in the show notes, and you can get tickets there. And then after the next day, February 20th, for the New York fans, they are playing at City Winery in New York City. And then February 21st, they are up at Cafe Lena in Saratoga Springs. And then they're going back to Ireland, doing a UK tour. And then in March, they're coming back over. So right now, the closest date, the closest location is March 23rd at the Hamilton Live in Washington, D.C. But Mohsen has assured me that there are going to be plenty more dates, not just this. They only have Washington, March 23rd and March 25th listed right now, and then over in April and May they are back over in the United Kingdom. So give these guys a listen if you get a chance. You check them out. Talisk, Talisk. If you are listening to this and you're not looking at your phone, give a Spotify or a Apple Music or wherever you get your music. Give a search for Talisk. They'll pop right up. Tremendous band. I highly recommend going on YouTube to watch one of their videos, because really it kind of captures the essence of what they do live. With just 3 people, they make a hell of a lot of noise, and they put on a great show. So I highly recommend seeing them on YouTube. And if you have a chance, please don't miss this opportunity to see Talisk while they're in the United States. They only come over once or twice a year, but when they do, they definitely make it worth it. So, and they definitely put their heart and soul into every performance. So that's my spiel. That's my rant about why I love Talisk, why I love this band, and why I was so happy to interview Mohsen, who is always a great guest. He's always a good sport. And I'm happy to introduce you and maybe reintroduce you now to my friend Mohsen Amini, the best goddamn concertina player in the whole world. Here he is, Mohsen Amini. Mohsen Amini, welcome to the High Note. Welcome back to the High Note podcast. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, Sean. How are you, mate?
I'm wonderful. So what have you been up to since August, since I've seen you last?
Oh, just touring away, having the time of my life. What did we do? We came back over to the States. We did a West Coast tour. It was pretty much just a tour of Seattle and a bit of Oregon, to be honest. It was great though. We went to a couple of islands and it was brilliant. Most of it was sold out as well, so we cannot complain at all about
That's
that.
always
And
good.
then, oh, it's brilliant, yeah. And then we came over to the UK, as you like to call it, but it's Scotland really. And we did a bit over here. We did maybe like a 3 week tour over here, and it was quite a big production tour. So that went down an absolute storm and was mostly sold out as well. So we've been having an absolute time of it,
That
and now, yeah, and now we're getting into Celtic Connections is a big festival. It's a big festival that happens over in Glasgow every year. It's the biggest winter festival in the world, and it's all traditional music. So we are getting ready for that. We're playing this venue at SWG3. It's like 1,500 people in it, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. We have the biggest light show we've ever put on for Celtic. I think this is the biggest light show that Celtic Connections has ever had at it, ever. There's like 110 different lights coming in. We've got a light show, a laser show. We've got 5 light technicians, 3 sound technicians. It's going to be absolutely out of this world, I think.
Oh
So
wow.
that's what we've been working on.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
man.
amazing. Well, we know what the people who do all the lighting for Fish do when now that Fish is not on tour, they're coming over and
Uh-huh.
doing your lighting, right?
I know, I know, yeah. Costs an arm and a leg, but it's all worth it.
Now. Have you played the Celtic Connections Festival before?
Just played it 7 years in a row.
No way, really? Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Every single year, building it up and up and up and up. So it's going well. And it'd be fair to say that we go down all right at the festival.
Wow, that's amazing. So this will be lucky number 7 for you.
I think it's either number 7 or number 8, by the way. When did we
Wow.
start? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, hmm. 2005. Wow. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This 23. This is our eighth official gig at Celtic Connections. And there was 1 year where we didn't have a gig. And instead of not doing anything, they normally have a festival club on at the festival every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But this 1 year when ourselves weren't playing, they hadn't booked out the last Sunday night for the festival club. So ourselves and another band that we're friends with called the Elephant Sessions thought, why don't we just put on our own gig? So on Friday night we booked a boat and then kitted it out and put on a big massive gig at Celtic Connections. So technically this is the ninth year.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's insane, isn't it?
Now, how long has this festival been going on for?
This is its 30th year.
Wow. Now, did you go to this when you were growing up in Scotland?
Oh, I did, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable for the music scene in Scotland. It's incredible. Gets artists from all around the world, and the music is the top level that you can possibly reach. It's unbelievable what people do at the festival.
Wow. Wow. Now, so, were you always
Yeah.
into Celtic music growing up? Like, when did you start going to this festival?
Even though it's humongous, it's a venue festival, so you could not notice it happening as well. When I was like 10 years old, found this at 15, and now turning 30 this year and having a great time at it.
Wow. Wow. Congrats. Turning 30
Hmm.
this year.
Yeah, big 3-0.
Amazing. Amazing. So, congratulations. When's your birthday?
That's on the 6th of June.
All
So
right. Well,
halfway through the year.
we'll have to put that on the calendar and do a big high note celebration for you
Happy
on June
not
6th.
get everyone out, get
Uh,
everyone over to Scotland.
Oh, absolutely. That's the least that we can do for you. You've been such a great guest all these years.
I'll hold you to it, Sean.
So when did you start playing? When did you start playing concertina, and how did you get interested in the instrument?
I started playing music generally at like 10 years old. I
Okay.
went to these classes that are local to me, and then they would give you an instrument for 2 years, and then you decide if you like it, and then you go and buy one yourself. And they got a concertina into the archive, and there was no teachers, and no one knew what it was. So I went over, got a little tune out of it, and they said, just take it, just have it. So then I
Wow.
took it home, and that was me. Just got obsessed with it. Every so often, they come back, I swap it with my friend, and me and my friend Mary would take turns of taking it back home for a week and learning a new note every week and figuring out where different buttons led to because no one had a clue what was happening with it. In music, if you play an A major, it has a G sharp. We couldn't find the G sharp for 3 years, so we just never used it. Things like that. It was like tortoise versus the hare, and we were very much the tortoise. But that story turned out well, so it's doing okay for us.
Wow. And so this was your first instrument? You didn't play anything else before this?
Oh well, I played the whistle and I tried. I mean, I can get a tune out of pretty much anything. Wouldn't say I play all these instruments, but that's what I did when I was younger. I'd go around all the instruments like the banjos, the flutes, the whistles, everything, trying them, playing them, and practicing them. And then the concertina was just the one that just really clicked, and that was me hooked forever.
Wow. Wow. So when you get into the concertina, where besides, like you said, learning learning the notes, is there
Yeah.
anyone that you're looking to like to for inspiration? How do where what are you listening to try to be like, oh, I want to play that?
Oh, there was a few people when we were younger that had been like our older musicians that were great at playing concertina. But there's not that. I mean, there's a lot of good players, but there's not that many people with that much music out, especially when I was growing up. So I ended up just listening to anything and everything. I learned what I could from like there's players like Hall O'Reilly, Niall Valley, and things like this. There's some players like that are really iconic concertina players growing up. They're brilliant, and I would learn all tricks off them from just listening to recordings, and then went on to listen to different instruments, different people playing, and trying to emulate that on the concertina to try and get my chops up. So I mean, I was just influenced by everything, and then going into the Scottish music scene, it became like a real reality check and a really cool reality check of like making music into a show. So it's not just a recital; you're making people happy when you play, and that was a big eye opener for me. So I just ended up started getting inspired by the people that I played music with, my friends and people I was around in sessions. And now I'm here.
That's awesome, man. Now, was it always like Celtic trad music, or did you ever play pop rock? Like, did you ever get into, like, playing like any type of modern music?
No, I wish I did because I'd probably be a hell of a lot bigger than I am. But well, unfortunately not.
You'd
No, I
be,
was really into. I was. What was it?
I was gonna say you'd be the Weird Al of the concertina, right? Like the most famous
Yeah, that's
concertina
exactly
player
it.
in the world. Where Weird Al's the most famous accordion player that anybody can name.
That's what I would take. I'd want that. That's what I'm after. But no, I used to just listen to exclusively traditional music, and only like recently, in the last like 5 6 years, I started like listening to pop music, indie music, everything. I do listen to everything. I love it. Like even listen to like I've started only this year getting into like real like hardcore, like even like screamo almost music bands like I Prevail and things like that. These like total heavy metal bands. And then because I mean we with the way we play, it's quite punky. Do you know what I mean? It's quite punky and like rocky, but it's obviously traditional music with electronic feels to it. So it's like we get into like feeling how different bands make different sounds. So I've been surrounding myself with new music nowadays. So I've went the opposite way. I've went from being really traditional to being more modern.
Oh, that's really cool. It's amazing how our tastes evolve too over time, right? Like you just kind of like
Yeah,
music that you didn't like before, you kind of like now. Like me, I just my tastes have totally evolved over the years, and there's stuff that like I before didn't think I would like, and now like pop music. I like a lot of pop music, a lot of electronic music that before I might have not been into at like 10 years ago, but now like absolutely love it.
yeah, totally. It's like olives. No one likes an olive when they're growing up, but when you get to about 25 to 30, you start liking olives. You see yourself sitting down, drinking at a bar, eating a couple of peanuts, and having some olives. And you're like, all of a sudden, you're into pop music.
Listen, if you soak anything in vodka, I will probably give it a try.
Exactly, exactly.
Have you listened to the new? This is might be stereotypical, but the new Bell and Sebastian album.
I haven't. No, is it any good?
It's good. Yeah, it's so the last one that they came out with a bit of previous was last year, and like they just recorded enough for two albums. And last year's
That's
album
really
was
good.
amazing, and this one has some really good tracks on it too. But yeah, they're like I'm sure I could name a couple other Scottish bands besides Elephant Sessions, who I only know through the Philadelphia Folk Festival. And you guys,
Yeah,
Bell and Sebastian. I was listening to them like through college. Like, love those guys.
yeah, fair. They're also from Glasgow. I never really listened to Bill and Sebastian, to be honest. There's not a lot of Scottish artists we listen to, which is strange because I mean we're surrounded by them, so we probably should listen to a lot more. I'm basic when it comes to music when it's outside trad, and I just listen to like all the hits, like Charlie Puth and all the rest of it, all that sort of stuff. That's all up my street.
I love it. I love it. And what do you do when you're not on tour? Like, what's home life for you in Glasgow?
Honestly, like hanging out with the same people I go away with, and then practicing and getting ready for the next tour. It sounds pretty monotonous, but it's the funnest job in the world. So why not keep doing it when you get home? I also have another band as well. So when we come off tour with Talisk, I go away with another band. So I mean, it's really fun. But I just generally do exactly what I do on tour, but back home. So it's great.
Wow.
Go to the
So,
gym a lot more though when I'm home.
oh, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Do you play any other instruments or just strictly concertina?
I would play the guitar quite a lot.
Really?
I like playing the guitar. Yeah, I love playing the guitar. But I would never. I don't think I'd ever play it on stage. Maybe I would actually. I have done a couple of times. But I mean, I'm a concertina player. But I do. I can play guitar and I play whistle as well. Recently, like I mean, the last like couple of years, I've not really touched it. But I used to be pretty decent in the whistle. So got couple of things going for me. Um, but concertina is my true love. It just
Uh,
doesn't sound as good as a guitar.
well, that's probably to your ears too, right? Like because you are an exceptional concertina player, and so
Well, there's just not that many around, so there's nothing to compare it to. So I can call everyone's bluff for the next couple of years, and I will absolutely exploit.
That's great. That's great. Do you have any other creative outlets or anything else that you do?
I was going to just make something up there just for the crack, but then I realised I wasn't creative at anything but music, so I couldn't. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I do? I don't really, to be honest, I don't really do anything else. I do a lot of things. Sorry, I do a lot of things. I just don't do anything massively creative. We use all for the shows. The best times to get creative for us is like today for this Celtic show. I went to the studio with our lighting engineer called Rob, and we just sat down getting creative with lights. So like everything I do generally goes towards what a gig would be like if it's learning how to do PR or do like editing videos or recording, stuff like that. I just love like I love all the parts of the music industry, every bit of it. So I do like learn different skills in that when I'm home. Um, yeah, I mean it's not for everybody, but it's for me and I love it.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I love writing, I love music, and I love, I just love talking to
Yeah,
people about music too. So like this is, for me, absolute dream job. Couldn't think of anything better to do.
yeah, exactly.
Now this show is in 2 days. You put a lot of work into this. So what does the final 2 days look like? Preparing and getting ready for the big show.
Yeah, well, we've done like we've kind of done 3 days production rehearsals. And try because there's a lot of red tape you have to cross with health and safety and everything. There's a lot of stuff happening. So we've been pretty intense working on stuff, working on looks, different avant-garde kind of things to put into the show. And it's now all done. So it's signed, sealed. I've got a couple of little things to work on. Um, sounds wise for the show. But other than that, we just have to take tomorrow and kind of chill out and maybe think about little things we're going to get to hype the crowd. But generally, just going to sit back and chill out because it's just another gig. We've just got a lot of things in this gig to make it amazing. But it's just the same as every other gig. We're just going to go up on stage, sweat our absolute faces off, and leave everybody smiling and also sweating. So yeah, I mean it's just another day, isn't it? It's just a fun thing to look forward to.
Is there anything different about that festival, the Celtic Connections festival, from like the Philadelphia Folk Festival? Is your set longer, or is the stage set
No,
up
it's
differently? Like, what's different?
completely different. Every single thing is different. Every single thing is different. For one, it's a venue festival. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like a open air stage, buy a weekend ticket, come along. It's like there's maybe like I think it's maybe like 20 venues around Glasgow that all have gigs on it pretty much every night. And then a festival club that everyone meets up at the end of the night. It's like an 800 cap festival club that has just pumping trad music playing at it. Philadelphia Folk Festival is also more of a kind of an acoustic Americana sort of vibe. Where over here it's quite heavy hitting trad. We have everything here though. Everything you've seen at Philadelphia is probably played at Celtic Connections, to be completely honest.
Wow.
During we've had Tom Jones playing there 1 year.
Oh, cool.
It's like yeah, it's got everything. But they've got so many theatres, and I mean the capacity of them is pretty big as well. So like, I mean, ours is 1.5. The concert hall's 2.5. There's loads of places in Glasgow with big massive spaces, and everyone generally uses it as their flagship gig for the year. So everyone puts everything into these shows to make them a bit more special. So you kind of see the best. You see the best of the best doing the best of what they do. So, I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
we would go to just be inspired by all these artists coming through because like it was massively hugely inspirational to us growing up watching these absolute master craftsmen coming on stage and doing their thing. So yeah, it's a pretty inspirational festival for everybody, and Philadelphia's got its spot as well. It's an open air, but they're completely different things. Do you know what I mean? I pretty much see Lisa every year at it as well that runs the festival. So
Oh,
I used to
cool.
run the festival. So I mean, it brings everyone together.
Oh,
It's
that's
good crack.
great. That's great. Now, how long is your
Yeah,
set?
we're probably doing about 90 minutes tomorrow. I'm pretty
Oh,
sorry.
oh, wow.
Yeah,
So that's a full concert then, right? Or just about?
like full concert. Yeah, yeah. But it's not a gig. So we've got everyone has their own gig at it.
Wow, that's great, man. So
Yeah.
is this like a warm up for, because you're right after that in February, you're hitting the States in Minneapolis. I mean, is this like kind of your warm up for for your stuff in the States, or is it totally get
I,
different?
I think it's the opposite way around. It's more like this is the gig. The States is almost warmed down after Celtic.
Oh,
You can feel it a
wow.
little bit.
Oh, cool.
I mean, there's a lot going into this show, to be honest. But then, I mean, we bring as much as we can to America and just hit it as hard as we can. So we don't really ever warm down. We just get warmed up for eternally, which is great. And we are looking forward to coming over. We're hitting quite a lot of places that we've hit before. So, and a lot of the venues are selling ridiculously well, actually. So, I think we're going for a very, very fun tour, meeting a lot of fun people. Yeah, it's going to be really good.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, I totally get it, man. It's your hometown gig, right? I mean, it's the one that you grew up
Yeah,
watching. You're super stoked about it, and like you can throw all of your heart and soul into it. So I think that's really awesome.
yeah,
I really am gonna have to make it over there one year, if just to hang out with Lisa and
yeah,
and dance with her.
yeah. I think you'd really enjoy it. It's really, really good.
Oh, that's great. Now you mentioned that there's some places in the States that you've been to before. Any highlights? Anything that you're looking forward to on your tour coming up here through February and March?
I am. Yeah, it's February. I was actually February. Yeah, we're coming. I'm sorry, we are coming in February, and then we're coming back over in March. Actually, to be
Oh, okay.
fair. But yeah, I am looking forward to. There's two gigs, and it's not just because it's the podcast, but we're doing a gig in Somerville, like just beside Boston, in the Crystal Ballroom, which would be great. And then in Philadelphia, we're doing the Ardmore Hall. And there too, like we've done a couple of gigs in these places before, and we're finally be able to grow into new venues, which is fun. So I'm actually looking forward to doing some good standing up, pumping, sweating gigs over in America. Um, what are the ones we're doing? We've done a few that we've been to before, but those two in particular are the ones I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to those ones.
Now, have you been to City Winery in New York before?
No, we've been to the City Winery in Chicago before, but never done the New York one.
Gotcha, gotcha. There's one in Philadelphia
Yeah,
as well, but I know the one in New York. I mean, it gets some top notch acts. So I think that's fantastic that you're playing there. That's definitely a big one.
that's cool. I didn't know that one. I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah, that's great. My podcast, hopefully, I know we have some listeners in New York, so hopefully we'll get them out there. So the Ardmore show is
Yeah,
February 19th in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, and then February 20th, the next day, City Winery in New York. Um,
that's
you're
exactly that.
you're playing just about every single day. I mean, you have a 7-day run, and then you're back in Ireland playing on like your Tuesday in America in New York at Saratoga Springs, and then your
Yeah,
Friday in Ireland. What? And then you're back in
yeah,
March in Washington D.C.
yeah,
And then you're over
yeah,
in Austria, the United Kingdom, France. I mean, like,
yeah,
what's happening here? Tell me
yeah. We
about this.
we
Who's booking you, Molson?
we've got. I know. I don't know. I do not know who's booking us, but we're playing them, and people seem to come and people seem to enjoy it. So I'm gonna just keep it going as long as I can. But I mean, we are all over the place. As soon as we come back, we're doing a gig in Ireland, and then I've got an Irish tour with another band for the night for that week, and then we've got a couple of days off, and then back over. So I mean, like, we're just kind of hit as many places as possible. It's hard with America though, 'cause it's so big. So like, and we don't want to. I mean, I love touring America. I love coming over. It's great. People are amazing. It's brilliant to go. But it's hard to go over for like 6, 7 weeks at a time. So we like to break it up and push things about. And we've been grafting all over the world like for years now. So we have to pick out the hot spots and just go and give them some music and hope they enjoy it. So we generally do 2 UK tours and 2 American tours a year. And then we do like a couple of like specials. Do you mean like a random tour in Austria or somewhere, Switzerland or blah blah blah. And we just fit it in as much as we can because we love playing music and love being on the road. Do you know what I mean? We love our job, we love working, so it's really great. It's really really great.
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. Now, I think you mentioned the gym earlier. Do you have like are you getting in a lot of working out when you're not, like, just to get ready for the tour? Because
I know, my God, seem like that.
you guys put a lot of
Yeah.
energy into your stage. Like, how do you do all these days in a row? Um, and keep up.
I mean, it's just the adrenaline keeps you going. It's totally fine. It's when you finish, it's the problem. When you finish the run, then your body says, right, you can now be ill, you can be sick, and you can catch up on all the repairing you need to do. So this is stopping that's the problem. The going is totally fine. It's totally fine. But I remember before when COVID happened, blah blah blah, COVID, boring chat. But just basically, sorry, when that time when we weren't playing a little bit happened, I was like, I need to go to the gym and start working out again and get my stamina up for doing a Talisk gig. So I don't think I've got the chops anymore to do it. But I am fine, got through it. But I love going to the gym. It's a really good. I really enjoy going to the gym. Just it's a good place to. I don't really need. I never really need to blow off steam ever, to be honest. I don't have steam to blow off. I always have a good time. But I just love getting physical and just working out. I love it. Love grafting away. So it's a fun thing to do when we're back home.
Yeah.
Because on tour it's quite hard.
Yeah, well, you let out a lot of steam on stage, that's for sure. It's definitely
That's probably where I let it out, and it's great. It's brilliant.
That's awesome, man. Hey, anything else that you wanted to mention? I know that you're getting ready for this gig. I really appreciate your time. Yeah, anything else about the tour that you wanted to mention?
I'm trying to think. No, I mean just to spread the word and get everyone involved in a bit of Talisk. We come over year after year, put all the effort we can into it, but it's not worth anything if people don't come and buy tickets and come and see us and enjoy a night with us. So I just say, just spread it around, spread the joy, and let us spread joy to you, because it's our favourite thing in the world to do.
Oh man, you're too
It's
kind.
also quite hard to tell people what they're in for. With you come to see Talis, what's it like? And you have to come, or you will never realize what it's like because you can't. I mean, how do you describe a Talis gig? I do not have a clue how to describe it. I have no idea. There's no one way I can just summarize it as one thing. You just have to see it. It's not see it to believe it because it's not an unbelievable thing. It's just a really fun thing. So you have to experience it and have a good time.
Experience is
There's
the
a lot
depth.
of words in there, Sean.
No, experience is the best word to describe it. It is an experience that unlike anything else. It's like, yeah, if people who are into music who have that one band, like people who follow the Grateful Dead or Fish, or they're like, oh, everything is, every show is different and it's complete unique, and that is Talisk.
Yeah.
That is the Talisk experience right there. It's something that you're really never gonna see anywhere else. And every show that I've seen has been completely unique.
Yeah.
And moving.
Because we're just blagging it, blagging it every time.
I love it. I love it. All right, Molson, before I
Yeah.
let you go, I have 3 silly questions that I ask every single person, so I can't exclude you from the madness. And but when you're with your buddies, I can't do it. By the way, I didn't mention Celtic really beat up on St. Mirren today, huh? 4-0. Did you see that?
I didn't see it actually because I've been actually busy all day, but I bet Benny saw it because Benny would love to be watching Celtic. We've got a real big mix in the band because we've got one Celtic and one Rangers, and then me in the middle not really caring. But my God, 4-0 is quite a defeat, isn't it?
Oh yeah, against St. Mirren. And I don't know, so you don't know this, but I pulled the audio from Graham saying, I don't think anybody wants to hear about football. And that's now the end of the podcast.
That's good crack. I enjoy that.
Oh, one of my favorite moments ever in all my years of doing this. Yeah, that was part
fun.
of my podcast research, was just looking up the score of the soccer match.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Benny is the target market for that one. That's brilliant.
All right, Molson. So, first question is, what was the first album that you ever received as a gift or that you bought?
Oh, it was an album by a concertina player that I'm actually friends with now called Jason O'Rourke, and it's an album called A Bunch of Keys. It was his first album on the concertina, and I was obsessed with it. Absolutely obsessed.
What a great name for an album, too. For a concertina
It's A Bunch
album.
of Keys.
A bunch of keys.
I
Yeah.
know, yes. It's a belter. It's an absolute belter.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Now, how did you hear about this? Like, when did you get it? I guess like early. Tell me about the.
It was like it's not like the story that you maybe think it's going to be. I was out fishing with my cousin when I was like 10 or like 12, and my mum's from England, so we were down in England fishing, visiting the family, and she just saw a CD in a shop that had a concertina on it, and she was like, "I know he's going to love this," and
Oh,
gave me it, and right enough, I absolutely loved it. So
oh
it was a
man.
happy accident actually.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, Next question is, what was the first concert that you ever attended?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know what the first concert I went to was. Um, what was it? I think there's two that are maybe my first concerts. One was like I think there was a like Live 8 concert or a Band Aid or something like that. You know when that was all happening?
Yep,
There's
yep.
like concerts all over the world.
Oh yeah.
So I think I went to one of them ones. But it was either that or it was like what was it? Our school took us to a gig when we were younger. And it was like this band what they call like XRM or something like that. They were like the same sort of time as like the Venga Boys and all that were coming out. And we went to that and absolutely loved it. They did a couple of sets and I was like, this is amazing. And they had a flute. I mean, it's like a big techno rave band, but it's like a big flute part in it. And I was like, that's the sort of music I play. I like this.
Oh, that's awesome. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that. That is
Oh,
amazing.
that was dynamite. Absolutely dynamite.
Fantastic. How old were you? Do you know? Like around the same
Oh, I
age for
must have.
both of them,
I
right?
think I'd be about 10. I think I'm about 10 or
Yeah.
something like that,
Oh, that's great, man. Last
yeah.
silly
Yeah.
question is, what is your favorite soundtrack or score from a movie?
Oh, that's a great question. I've got loads of these. I actually I love soundtrack music, and also
Nice.
everyone loves a bit of Hans Zimmer and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
But
that was the
what's
debate
my
on
favorite?
Twitter was who's better, Hans Zimmer or John Williams. I voted for
John
John
Williams.
Williams. Yeah, have to, right?
I think, yeah. I mean, he's definitely more. He's got. Well, I mean, they're both amazing.
Yeah.
John Williams was like the original iconic score writer, though, wasn't he? The stuff he's done is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely amazing. It's all quite different as well. Whereas Hans Zimmer follows quite a similar pattern in a lot of things he does. It's all very orchestral. He also composes everything in D minor. I think it's always in D and transposes it into different keys.
Wow, I didn't know
Which
that.
is an interesting Hans Zimmer fact. I don't know who my favorite one is. I really like this soundtrack to The Theory of Everything. You know that film, The Theory of Everything.
No, I don't.
It's a film about Albert Einstein, and
Okay.
let me try and find it. Theory of Everything. It's not a composer I ever had heard about, actually, to be honest. Soundtrack.
I think
It's beautiful.
I think I remember a movie about Albert Einstein coming out like about 10 years ago, maybe. Is it that long
This
ago?
maybe it was. It was definitely maybe like 6 years ago or something like that.
Okay.
So I say so. It's by a guy called Johan Johannesson.
Okay.
Um, probably nothing like that, but that's what I'm pronouncing it like. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I adore it. And then what's the other one? There's a Hans Zimmer actually. I mean, he does a lot of samey stuff, but a lot of stuff is different. And there's a movie called Tears of the Sun, and it is the soundtrack. It's quite. I mean, it's quite a dark soundtrack, but it's like really. It's got a lot of moments where you just like it really touches your heart. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So maybe them two. There's probably a couple of others that I absolutely love, but I've got a playlist on my Spotify of hundreds of soundtracks. I just play through them and just pick up from where I left off and keep going through them.
Wow.
In love with them. Yeah. Oh, totally mad about them. Anything that's like symphonic and quite tear jerking, I'm absolutely all over that. All over it.
Oh, how cool, man. I got to listen to more
Yeah.
soundtracks now. You have me
Oh
intrigued.
man. Yeah. Some good. You'll be crying for days, man. Crying for days, but having the best time of your life.
That's awesome. Mohsen Amini,
Yes.
where can people find you on social media and Talisk as well?
So I mean, there really isn't very many people called Mohsen Amini, so you just need to type my name in and it'll appear. I guarantee you, nothing else will appear bar my face. I'm the only concertina player called Mohsen Amini in the entire world. But generally, just type in Mohsen or Talisk into Google, and you'll find all of our. We've got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tinder, everything. We've got everything for you. Anything. We've got them all.
I love it. And then we're going to see you on February 19th at the Ardmore Music Hall in
Yep.
Pennsylvania. And then February 20th at City Winery in New York City. You're going to be up and down the East Coast throughout February and then back for a little gig at Washington D.C. and then over not a little gig, but just for a short amount of time. You're going to be here in March in Washington D.C. and Colorado, and then back in the UK, all over the world, globe trotting.
I think we're having a good time. We've actually we're waiting for some of the dates in, but we've got a 10-date tour in March, so there's a lot of, we're going to be going all over the place. Actually, there's only 2 up online at the moment, but we're going all over the place.
It's all the reason to go. Time. All the reason to go to talisk.co.uk to check out all the gigs and make sure that you follow these guys and see them when they come to town, because honestly, Mohsen, Graham, and Benny put on probably one of the best concerts. They might be one of the best touring bands in the world today.
I will be quoting that. I'll be quoting that.
You heard it here first. Mohsen, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, man.
No worries, Sean. Anytime at all.
I don't think anyone wants to hear about football/soccer.